Terrell here, and I'm back to talk about Percy Jackson and the Olympians coming to Disney Plus on December 20th. Coming, like I said, coming to Disney Plus on December 20th. You're getting the first two episodes of that show streaming on Disney Plus. Like I said, I'm here to talk about the first two, episode 1 and episode 2. Don't want you to think I'm talking about the whole series. Episode 1 and 2 here. So like I said, it's coming Wednesday, December 20th. It's going to Disney Plus. Now, talk about the show. If you're not familiar with Percy Jackson, first thing you're probably thinking about, man, those movies, right? Yeah, forget about those. Forget about those movies. I've already said before, like they didn't do Rick Riordan's books justice at all. Not like those books are like super hard to read or get into. I just feel like sometimes with movies they don't have the time and the pacing to really break down one full book. And I feel like with this series, it gets you right into it. I feel like it introduces your characters and gives you like, and it actually like feels like they're trying to get through what they can as much as they can. Obviously, trying to adapt this to TV or film, you're not going to be able to get every single bit of nuance and like every little bit of detail that you want to into the show. Episode 1, like I said, it introduces us to the character of Percy Jackson, and I want to make sure I get this actor's name right. Played by Walker Scobell, who's playing Percy Jackson. Man, I mean that's a big role, man. Walker's also played. Want to make sure in the Adam Project, man, which came to Netflix not too long ago. So this kid's already getting major roles here, and he's getting Percy Jackson. And I can already tell you, I mean, him coming into this role, not too much that he has to do to, supersede his predecessor. This is just, he's just a lot better on the writing. It's not like, I feel like the first one they were, even though like some of the jokes are in the book is nowhere near as cheesy as it is here. But like I said, episode 1, we get an introduction to the character and his family, the friends and stuff like that. This kind of the world here. The first episode, I feel like, it moves really quickly. And that's one of the things I want to say about like these first two episodes. I feel like it's moving. Like they're like, all right, we got a certain amount of episodes, we got to get to A and B. The first episode, like it moves really quickly. And I'm not, for those who haven't seen it, I mean, this is a non-spoiler, of course. I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but not so far like this first episode. I mean, it's definitely some CGI on some of the creatures and stuff that we see here. Of course, with the old Disney magic, it's hidden in the dark. So it's a lot harder to see. And I also want to tell you guys, shout out to Disney for providing those first two episodes. I was able to see this early, so you're probably like, how did he see it? Thank you, Disney. I really appreciate it. But like I said, like we see some of these creatures here, and we see like some of the CGI being used. Not a lot of CGI being used in this episode. So I mean, like it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like I said, it's for a show that's supposed to be heavy magic use and stuff like that. We get a little bit more of that, as we get into episode 2. I feel like episode 1 did its job. It set it up. It got us where we needed to be. But like I said, it moves really quickly. Like I said, once when it comes out, and you see it, you're like, man, you're like. It moves pretty quickly. I felt like the episode was over so quick. Like I was like, oh, okay, that's it. But yeah, and then episode 2, we get a little bit more of, obviously from what happened from the events of the first, and I feel like the show doesn't really show a lot of the emotion that should be seen. And for those people that have read the books, you know what I'm talking about, but. I feel like there's just like Percy's just moving. And everything is either a joke or like everything is just kind of like, okay, let's move on. And not to say like they're not taking it serious or anything like that, but I just feel like they're not giving some of the serious moments the time it deserves. I feel like we're really glossing over it. We're not really getting to see what some of these actors can do, like, you know what I mean, like how you respond to certain things. I will say in episode 2, like when we really get to see a lot of the choreography, once we get to a certain scene, and you know what I'm talking about, we really get to see Percy move a little bit. We start to see him get a little bit more comfortable. But again, like I said, this episode 2, we really don't get a lot of heavy CG. There's not a lot of reasons to use it. And I remember reading a lot of what's in episode 2 in the book. Felt a lot longer. Maybe books just felt long. When you read The Lightning Thief, you're like, all right, this seems like half the book, but it's just the beginning. So I can see why, like they were, like I said, they were moving at the pace they were moving. It just feels like it's really, really quick. That was really like my only concern with just the first 2 episodes so far, is that they felt like they were moving too quick. I wanted some things to be acknowledged. I wanted more character involvement from Percy, Grover, and other characters that are here. And I feel like you really don't get that, which sucks, because like I feel like that's a lot of character building in the book. That again, I mean, it might pop up in future episodes, and I'm only talking about the first 2. But I feel like there's a lot of character building in the books that I feel like get glossed over. There's a lot of detail just in the first episode alone, I think, that talks about Percy and some of his dyslexia and why he deals with, why he's dealing with what he's dealing with, and some of the stuff he deals with as a demigod that he views different from the rest of the world. I feel like they don't really give that a lot of time here, and I was really hoping to get a little bit more seasoning on the character building of Percy, because like I said, it's moving pretty quick. It comes on, if, like I said, if you're familiar with the books, you know what happens, what's happening here. But again, it's moving pretty quickly, and characters are just like thrown in so quick, like, okay, you want to remember a certain character's name or whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, again, there's no building between characters. Nobody feels like they really know each other so far, and I'm only in 2 episodes into the show. There is in the first episode, there is some use, and I said it's not a lot of CGI that's used, but a lot of this is definitely just practical effects. There's some use of water that I don't think was CGI from what I can see, but that looked pretty good. But even that scene, I feel like they kind of pushed that a little quickly. And again, like I said, if you're watching episode 1, you know what I'm talking about. But I feel like they just kind of jumped around, and you're like, okay, wait, what? And it's a lot of like that first episode. They try to explain as much as they can, as fast as they can explain it. The episodes are about 40 to 50 minutes. So they're pretty lengthy, but at the same time, they feel like they're moving pretty quickly. So you don't feel like you're like, oh man, this is lagging or anything like that. The acting is pretty much what I would expect from kid actors so far. I don't think it's terrible. I just think that's just the dialogue of what kids probably sound like nowadays. And this is also supposed to be like more of this is supposed to be a modern, of course, version of it. So if it's today versus when these books were written, which were probably like early 2000s or something like that. I want to say like 2010s, when these books started first coming out. Yeah, like I said, I just wish a little bit more. There was a little bit more involvement of some of the background characters that play onto Percy's character, and like some of his friends. Like I said, we just don't get that here. And like I said, I mean, it's a great cast so far from what I'm seeing. Like I said, Leah Jeffries, Walker Scobell, Aryan Simharati, Charlie Bushnell. We got Jason Mantzoukas, who we see there. And then, like I said, from the trailer, we already know, who else is in the show. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. Like I said, I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so not too much to spoil. But like I said, the first episode, We definitely, like I said earlier, we get some CGI, but not a lot. And there's a lot. Once we get to that certain point, it's pretty dark. So you'll really get to see a lot of like what's going on there. Jumping back in the episode 2. Episode 2 pretty much jumps us back off, and like I said before, I felt like when we came back in, there should have been some conversations that should have been had. There was no emotion towards what previously just happened, and I was just like, okay, so we're just gonna move. Maybe and again, maybe because the kid's a demigod, his feelings might be different. He might react a certain way or anything like that. They don't really give you a lot of explanation as to what is why, or why is what. Even Grover's character, I feel like he should be in this more, at least within the first 2 episodes. And he is almost not there. Maybe, like I said, as we get into future episodes, we'll be able to see a little bit more what Grover can do, and maybe build that relationship up between those two, because like these are characters that are supposed to have been known each other for a while, and it almost feels like, just like I said, just within the first 2 episodes alone, they don't really know each other, which I thought was kind of weird. Like I said, episode 2 also gives us, like I said, a really great cast, a different ensemble characters. I really can't wait to see what these other characters are capable of. I can't wait to see how they show more magic, how they show what these other characters can do. I felt like once we got towards the end of the second episode, we started to get a little bit more, but everything still felt so vague. It's almost like they purposely want to keep everything, for the audience shrouded until we get to a certain point. I mean, I'm just, the road to storytelling, but I feel like at that point, like, we should know something, at least like how Percy's like regular life is, because right now it doesn't feel like it's earned going into like, everything else. But I mean, that could be a personal thing. Like I said, I read the books when I was younger, just remembering certain things about it. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what's changed, what has stayed the same. I feel like I really need to go back and read those books again, and maybe not, just because I feel like if I read them, I'm going to be looking for certain things. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the episodes are not too long. Like I said, my only complaint so far is that the pacing just feels like it's super rushed so far. Like I said, I just wish there was more time to build between characters, but I guess, however they got this laid out, they got a plan. The only thing I can say is, keep watching this, and let's just see how it goes. It's not terrible so far, but it's also not enough to be like, oh yeah, it's really good, I gotta keep watching. Which is probably why they gave you the first 2 episodes on the same day, which would explain a lot, because these 2 episodes feel like they because of how they're paced, they're supposed to be together. But so far, like I said, I mean, I like the show. It's not bad, but it's not enough. The first 2 episodes not really enough to go on right now to like really bring me, how I feel so far. I mean, like I said, it's how I feel about it overall. Overall, like I said, I guess they really haven't shown enough, and they haven't really shown enough of like the magic and like the the other side of things just yet. We see a little bit of it, but also, like I said, I really haven't seen any of the character building really begin because of like how it's been paced so far. But like I said, other than that, if you're a fan of Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which is the first book, Percy Jackson and the Olympians is here. Like I said, I mean, so far it's already doing a better job of those 2 movies. You're not trying to take 2 shots continuously at that movies, but I mean, man, we actually have kids playing kids, not 25-year-olds playing 15-year-olds. But again, not a shot at the movie. It's just that's just where we were at the time. I'm glad that Disney Plus is starting to take some of this a little bit more seriously. And like I said, see where this goes and give this the time it deserves. My only issue of concern is that we're using kid actors, and kid actors grow super quick. Are we going to be able to really get through this series in 3 to 4 seasons, or however if this is planned out for more? Are we going to be able to get through that, or what? But that's my only issue of concern so far. Like I said, with the the show so far is just getting through that. But like I said, the first 2 episodes go by pretty quick. Episodes 1 and 2 coming to Disney Plus on December 20th. Percy Jackson Olympians. Like I said, if you're a fan of the books, I do think you'll like the show. But like I said, my only issue so far is just the pacing. Other than that, I really have no real reason to complain about it. It's okay so far. Episodes 1 and 2, please check it out. Disney Plus, December 20th. Disney, thank you again for allowing me to watch this early. Get a nice little preview of where this is going. And like I said, I'm here for the ride. I've been waiting for this for a while, and I can't wait to see what the rest of it's like. We got more to come. So once we get to episode 3, 4, 5, whatever we got coming, I'll be right there to review it with you guys. So let me know what you thought about the first 2 episodes in the comment below. If you felt like how I was feeling, was there something missing? Do you feel like they just glanced over stuff a little bit? Were you expecting a little bit more? Did it move too fast? Leave me a comment below. Let me know. I'm curious to hear what you guys thinking about the show. But other than that, let me know what you thought in those comments, and I'll see you next time for another review. See you.